Oh. Well,
What's wrong, baby?
too much sushi. Oh. Ooh. Oh, that's rough. No. Okay. All right. Let's see what yabba dabba do mess John has been up to lately. My fiance hid $100,000 secret. My husband never has time for me or the kids. Is our friendship over? My best friend kept a life-changing secret from me, and saucy. Yeah.
My wife came out to me a few weeks ago now, and there's been a few updates, but it doesn't seem like that was her intention.
Why do I do this to myself? Why? Why? No. You know when you come across a situation that you just can't quite put your finger on or figure out? Yeah, this ain't one of those times. So this guy named Josh, wink wink, we'll just pretend for the sake of argument, for the sake of this call, that is your government name instead of one you just made up, okay? Calls in and says that his wife is homosexual and wants to know if he should file the big D. Yet Josh seems to be leaving a key piece of information out of this call. I don't know. Are you hearing the same thing I am?
My wife came out to me a few weeks ago now, and there's been a few updates, but it doesn't seem like that was her intention. But at the time, I thought the divorce was clearly the right option. She disagreed.
Came out in what way? Came out that she's not attracted to you anymore? She's attracted to women? She came out how?
So here's how she phrased it, and this is what kind of caused the tailspin. She came out and said to me, Now, for a little bit of backstory, she had come out to me before we got married as bi. That was something that I knew, was aware of, we were both good with. Like, hey, I beat out twice as many people. That works for me.
That's like the old chasing Andy. Like, dude, I tried out 100% of the field and you win. Yeah, okay.
yeah. But then, 3 weeks ago, she comes out and says, hey, and so for me, instantly, I'm thinking, okay, well, we don't have kids yet. We are in a position where we could separate fairly quickly and easily.
What was the context of the coming out?
Well, I didn't have a lot. She has been kind of on a journey. Her mental health has had a lot of ups and downs. And so she's been working through that, a lot of it with me, but, this part in particular, more so on her own with her therapist. And so she has been embracing more of her identity. And that was what prompted her, like, hey, I don't want to hide this from you anymore. I want to share this with you, that I'm embracing more of this side of my identity. And apparently that's what she had intended to say. And when it came out with the words, my immediate conclusion was, okay,
yeah. What's the implication for I'm going to explore this side of my identity? I haven't heard this conversation. I'm just going to explore this thing outside, but not explore it.
Yeah. And for her, I think she's still figuring out what that means.
So pretty sure Josh had already went through the process when he and his wife began dating. At least that's just my guess, right? Like that's the assumption that I'm going to make. You probably aren't going to hear anything in this call that is going to suggest otherwise, because Josh doesn't ever come out and say what his or her gender is. But I think the wifey wants to ditch the synthetic sausage and go back to being a scissor sister. Hey, I never said that I wasn't going to use euphemisms for being nasty. I can only promise that I'm not going to be blunt nasty. It's just not my style. And of course, it wouldn't look good for me being a Christian having a filthy mouth, now would it?
But the example she brought up and what is still driving me to consider divorce, because I think if it had been phrased differently, it wouldn't have come up as a consideration. But she also mentioned potentially opening up the relationship. And she was very clear, like, if you say no, it is a hard no. I'm not going to try and force this open or anything along those lines.
Why don't you go on and hit that like and subscribe button for me? Don't you make me beg like a stray dog on your porch now.
But the fact that she brought it up was a big deal for me, because before we got married, that was a very clear shared value. Like, our definition of marriage, part of that is monogamy.
Fidelity,
and, yeah, opening it up is not part of that. And so now I'm at a place where, I'm honored that I've created a safe place for her where she is, feeling free to ask these questions of herself. But my concern is now, if her value has diverged that much from mine, I don't know how to work with that.
So not only does the wifey want to go back to being a butch bandit, she just doesn't even want to be with just Josh anymore. I'm just messing, you guys. I'm just messing. I'm sure they're lovely ladies, but I can tell you this much. They both most assuredly need Christ in their lives. See, this is the issue whenever you start dabbling in the alphabet soup. You feel me? It opens you up to other lustful, sinful behavior, and before you even know it, you've thrown your vows out the window with your table scraps.
So what's your question for me, man?
I mean, what I'd like is for someone to tell me what to do. And
So what's your question for me, bro? What's your question for me, dude? Dude, John. I say dude all the time, but you said man deliberately to try to make this woman actually feel secure in her identity. Everybody knows that is listening to this call that this is not Josh. It's Josie.
Let's get beneath the confusing part or the radioactive part. And the confusing radioactive part is you're trying to be a very open-minded, kind, loving husband, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Keyword, husband. Husband. We got to stick to that. Husband. This is a husband. A dude, not a dudette. I feel like John is having to reiterate that just to make sure he doesn't slip up. Guy, dude, bro, husband. I have to keep reiterating that, or otherwise I'm going to call you Josie instead of Josh. I am with him on the whole identity conversation because I think that's just a cop-out, and I feel like it's a way for people to express their trauma. That's really it. It's hurting people that are hurt, people that have trauma, people that need help, people that need to turn to Christ, need to turn to God and actually turn their lives around and understand and wake up that this up here has been washed.
Hurt guy that's sitting in front of me, whose wife just said, I've been exploring my identity and I've come to the realization that I don't think that you're enough. I want more. Because that to me sounds like the pain point. And as a supportive guy, you're trying to hold up, okay, I've created a safe space. There's identity discussions. There's all sorts of things on the queer spectrum. I want to get beneath that to the guy that just has heartbroken because his wife said, you're not enough. I'm thinking I want more.
For the first time in a while, I agree. I completely agree. That it doesn't even need to be a part of the conversation.
I guess I feel like, there's things I can handle, and maybe even this I can handle, but I don't know how much farther are we going to diverge in values.
I don't think it's the values conversation, brother.
Yeah, brother. You see what I mean? He keeps doing that. And I think he's doing it on purpose, just so he doesn't slip up. Values. What values? What even kind of values would you have in that kind of relationship? Because if you're willing to cross this line, and this line, and this line, to even get into the marriage or the relationship, then how can you even claim to have values? You see what I'm saying? That's my entire problem with this.
Or I've quote unquote discovered myself and realized, man, if I could do this over, I wouldn't have done this with you, but I'm stuck with you now. Can we add somebody else?
And she's denied that. She said that, even after that whole conversation, it sent her into a tailspin. She said she wished she could take it back because she loves me. She wants to be with me.
Okay.
She finds me attractive, and that's all great. But and I fully believe her when she says there's not been someone else that she's had her eyes on or anything along those lines, which helps, I think.
So if that's the case, now let's take off the radioactive part, the part that gets the internet all fired up.
You mean the part where you make the way you identify your entire personality? I don't get it. I really don't. People in the alphabet soup space reduce their entire existence down to what they like betwixt the sheets or what they say they are just because they said it. That's unthinkable to me. I'm more than just a sum of all of my parts or what I like in someone's britches. I'm a person with characteristics and hobbies and flaws and skills. Not many skills, but I still have a few with my own thoughts and opinions and especially my own beliefs. It's just weird that they think all a person is comprised of is what they claim they are in the intimate sense. Baffling. I feel like these people are in desperate need of Christ, like the world is, okay? But these people are so far down the rabbit hole and they have zero hiking gear to get back up. I can guarantee that you guys have been screaming at the screen every time I call this person Josh or Josie instead of Jake. I have no idea where I got Josh from. I have no idea. It's been a long day. I apologize, but let's be real. This is not Jake.
For you heard this and then you heard that's not what I meant. I'm sorry. What is it about this moment in time in your relationship with this person that you're saying, I can't go any further?
I think for me, I want stability in a marriage.
Okay.
And if I'm going to come back to the values, not this specific one, but if those values are shifting, I feel like I don't have that stability.
And give me, and you've probably heard me say this on the show a million times. I always say couples have to be aligned in their values, but they can be all over the place with their beliefs. That's fine.
Right.
What value has shifted?
Monogamy. I mean, she said that she won't do it if I'm not up for it, but just the fact that that she's open to the idea. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And yeah.
What? Give me another value. Give me another value, because I feel like a lot is hinging on this one exploratory question.
Let's see what else. My money is on her not having very steadfast values. Jake not having very solid values. That's just my guess.
It is. And that's a big part of my problem, and why,
I guess what I'm challenging you is, my gut tells me there's something deeper, or there's something else.
Notice how Jake doesn't answer the question. What are the values? I told you, if you're willing to overstep one line, you're willing to overstep 5 more, especially getting into a relationship such as you're in, and with someone of the same persuasion, because I don't want to get my channel kicked off into, punted off into the shadow realm. It's pretty sad that I have to do that I have to choose my words so carefully on my channel now, because anytime I am just freeballing and I'm just going off and, trying to expose this and expose that, YouTube doesn't like it and they won't promote me in the algorithm. So there you go. But I have a sneaking hunch that Jake doesn't really have many values.
I think I've just witnessed her change and grow as a person. And so I think what a lot of this is my internal fear that's because that's the biggest one, far and away. There's nothing that even comes into the same category of things we've changed our mind on.
Okay, but when you sat down and said, hey, you said this thing, you proposed this. And I believe that if I had said I'm into this, you would have been all in. And it hurt me deeply that you would consider adding somebody else to our secret world. And she said, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I don't know. I was just kind of out of my mind. I'm sorry.
Oh, I apologize. That's not what I meant to say.
Okay.
What I meant to say was what she communicated to me was that she is sorry that she worded it that way. She is sorry that she did not plan ahead in how she was going to communicate this. But she still sees opening up the relationship as something that's viable.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So y'all have a values difference.
Yes.
Okay. And that's a significant one. And so you are, okay, now I'm understanding. You are right to say, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I believe her when she says, without my consent, she wouldn't, go out on her own and do that. But just the fact that we have this way different definition, it feels like this gulf that I don't know how to get across or how to meet in the middle. And yeah, what's next? What other values are we going to start diverging on?
You still haven't named anymore. I'm going to hold you to that, Jake. I don't think John really knows what to do in this situation. He really doesn't know which direction to go, because he knows that this person is not even being fully honest with him. He's just got the surface level, superficial, not very many details, and he doesn't really know which direction to go. And it's actually fun to watch.
I remember a few years ago talking to a couple. One of the people had experienced some pretty significant trauma when they were a child. Okay. And it had there had been some hints about it, but it had never been fully discussed between the two of them. And when it finally came out and they were having the conversation, and this person said, I need to go do my trauma healing in my work, there was this basically it was, you pause our life. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pause my life. I'm going to go over here and do my healing. You continue. What I communicated to that couple is, hey, you have to do your own trauma healing, and y'all are both different now. Your marriage is different now. And so any exploration of who you are is an exploration of who y'all are. So somebody has to go to the therapist by themselves and do that hard work. But that can't happen in isolated secret, because you got a partner over here. Because when you get married, 1 + 1 = 1. You got a half of an entity over here going, okay, everything's changed, but I'm right here. I'm all by myself. I'm not hearing this. I'm not, right? And so I hear your situation similar, which is we got married and we created this sacred, safe place. And then she said, I'm going to pause this thing. You keep going. I'm going over here to explore myself. And she keeps coming back a different version and a different version and a different version. And you're saying, hey, like every time you change, we change. Does that sound right, or am I out to lunch there?
That is how I feel. I'm not going to say whether it's right or wrong, because she might, I mean, if we're so off our communication that we had this big of a misunderstanding, I don't want to say that that's correct, but it's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Feelings are part of it. Our feelings' job is not to tell us the truth. They're to keep us safe. So let me ask you the hard question. What is true inside your marriage? Because I hear you trying to be open-minded and open-hearted and expansive and forgiving and inclusive. You're trying to be all of these things, but I want you to be honest about you, like what is true in your marriage.
I don't know, man. I feel like John he's really trying to toe the line in this video. And look, he's not a Christian, or at least he's not a Christian that believes in saved by grace through faith, nor is he somebody that is going to incorporate, Christianity into any of his advice. And it's like, hey, you do you, bro. But if I'm trying to help someone, I'm going to not just be pushing, I'm going to be shoving someone in the direction of Christ. That's just who I am. And I get that the immediate way to help this person, Jake, isn't going to be to break down the exact nature of their relationship or their marriage as far as the alphabet soup, part of it. I understand that that's probably not even going to be helpful, especially on a 15-20 minute call, right? That's not going to be helpful.
We are very different people than we were.
The sentence that's in my head is the person you married no longer exists. Is that too big? Is that too big of a stretch?
Yeah, we heard that before marriage, and like we're gung ho and embrace you got to choose to love, who you marry and who they're going to be 5 years from now. And I guess you don't think about what that actually means when they change.
Marriage is hard, especially when one of you starts changing and really transforming and exploring new identities.
Oh, they're really transforming. All right. That's exactly what I call it. You say that your values are shifting, and it's like, honey, you've never had them. You've never had any values because you were willing to cross so many lines to get to where you are now. I guess what I would have said to this person is I would have said, walk away. You're living in sin, period. I would be heading the other direction because I can hear it in your voice that you're not living the way that Christ expects us to live. And, I don't know how else to help you except to say that I pray that you and her actually do go and file for the big D, because two people of the same persuasion being married is an insult. It's a slap in the face to God Almighty. So yes, go file. Go do it. Go do it. People just thinking that it's okay, it's acceptable, it's perfectly fine to break just about every law, every commandment. This world is lost. That's all I can really say about that. You want to hear a funny Christmas story? Merry Christmas to you, by the way, all right. My daughter needed some clothes for Christmas. I bought her a hoodie and some sweaters, right? And some pants and stuff like that. There's a couple of sweatshirts that have rock bands, like, nostalgic rock bands from the 60s and 70s. So I wrap her sweatshirts. I go to YouTube a few hours later, and I pull up Asmund Gold's channel, and he's going over the JE files that dropped, the ones in which were not redacted. He pulls up Mick Jagger, and I was like, oh no. I just bought my daughter a Rolling Stones sweatshirt with all their tour dates on it. What am I going to do? Oh my gosh. And I was like, please have not seen this photo. Please have not said, please, I hope she has not seen this. And it's like, are you still going to give it to her? Yeah, I'm still going to, you know why I'm still going to give it to her? Because the Rolling Stones are more than just Jagger, all right? I can't say that he is 100% implicated. I think there was 1 or 2 photos of him, and he was at a dinner. So it's not like he was on the island or in the plane. We didn't see any of that, so just don't judge me for it, all right? Please. I'm trying to be a good mama. It was on clearance. So, yeah, I'm still going to give it to her. All right? All right, on to the next one. Yes, I filmed the second part of this video yesterday. Sue me, all right? Get over it. I'm going to go ahead and warn you ahead of time. This one's pretty sad. What the saddest part is that John was not blunt. He was not upfront and honest like he should have been. Exactly like I'm going to be in this very video.
My husband and I have been married for 27 years. We both were in the same high demand religion, and we have both eventually left it. I left it about 12 years ago. He's kind of gone back and forth, but he's completely out now. But I'm realizing I have lots of resentment around how he treated me while we were in the religion and then since. And now I'm older and I'm realizing he also has all his own trauma around that, but I don't quite know how to forgive where we've been and move forward past how I'm feeling right now. So
$20 says it was LDS. It was a Mormon church, for sure.
So give me some examples of some things that you are still resenting.
Okay, so when we were in the religion, I was I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say good girl because I don't think I'm a bad girl, but I was very good at following all the rules.
How about a compliant girl?
Compliant, very good. That's a perfect word to describe.
You did what you were told, and you took all your wants and needs and feelings and shoved them in a box, and you
absolutely
did what the next person told you to do. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's how I grew up, and then The saying I always say to everybody is I left my dad's house and went straight to my husband.
This sounds like a man who was just doing his duty and didn't care anything about you. That's exactly what it sounds like here.
Okay.
So I was very compliant growing up. I was a very compliant wife. I've had lots of children. I've done all the right things. And then I just couldn't do it anymore. And so now that I've left, I've realized that he was probably just telling me what he was told to tell me while we were younger, but it's made me feel bad because it was a lot of how he didn't like the way I looked. I wasn't the standard of beauty, I guess you could say, in our religion. And so he would say things to me like, well, you're cute. And I would be like, but I want to be beautiful. Well, you're not beautiful. You're cute. So he would kind of downplay, I don't know, how I felt about myself all the time. And then the house was never clean enough. The kids were never quiet enough. It was a lot of that when they were growing up. I've changed and I feel like I look different and I behave different. Now I get a lot of, I don't like the way you look. I don't like the way you talk. So I just feel like it doesn't matter what I look and say and do. I'm not good enough or right for him.
So your husband didn't like you then and he don't like you now. He didn't think you were beautiful then and he didn't think you were beautiful now. John, just say it. We need to say it.
I don't know quite what to do with those feelings because I don't want to be divorced and I don't want to leave him. And I understand we've lived a pretty great life. It's just a lot of these feelings have just kind of all piled up on themselves and I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that. So I hear two things happening at the same time. One is you were both in a religious tradition that told him that every wrong thing in his life was the woman in his life's fault.
Oh, wow.
And you were told that everything you feel is wrong and the things you're supposed to feel are whatever he tells you to do.
Wow.
And over time, y'all both broke free from that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
But I also hear those same things, he's continuing to hurt you in that way.
Yeah.
Does it sound like this dude broke free from anything? He's still acting exactly the same way he was before.
I want you to own this is happening right now. Okay? And it's both a more graceful, y'all were both breathing in the same smoke 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're not anymore, and yet these actions are continuing.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that's a scarier proposition. Yeah. It's at the same time more graceful, and also I got to deal with this present reality that my husband looks me in the eye and says, "You are not beautiful enough for me."
Yeah.
I told you this one was going to be really sad. Some men do not deserve their wives. Some husbands do not deserve to be married to their wives.
And probably me saying the words, "I'll give you a pass," it's probably not the right way to say that, but I'll give anybody grace on them simply walking on the path they were given and assigned.
Yeah,
okay?
For sure.
And
for sure.
Especially because if you're in a high demand religion, you this move probably cost you friends, it probably cost you family. It comes with a lot of unhooking, which is really painful, right?
Yeah, I describe it as a death.
Yeah,
I feel like I had a death in my life. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say I'm give somebody a pass, but dude, I've got so much grace for folks who look back and think, "Oh my gosh, look who I was, look what I did, look who I became." And some of that, to be honest with you, is we talk a lot about like when you break free from these type of unhealthy, and in this case, sometimes it's family dynamics, sometimes it's religion dynamics. That sense of empowerment you feel, it almost always leads to this contempt. Like, I'm above this now. I figured out something, and all of y'all hurt me, and y'all were painful. And some of that's true, but here's the challenge. Most people don't do what I think is the next hardest step, which is forgive themselves.
John, I don't think this has a thing to do with forgiveness. This guy's just a prick.
I never thought to do that.
Well, often that discomfort we're still carrying around about what they did to me, also is, in a twisted way, I allowed this to happen. I signed up for this. I participated in this for 5, 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? And that comes with forgiveness and grace for the woman you see in the mirror.
I think this is just another example of him focusing on the wrong things here. He will pick something, say, well, in this case, the fact that they were a part of a cult, more than likely. And then he will hone in on that and say that is the issue, instead of turning and looking at the person that they're talking about, instead of looking at them and saying, no, this is a character flaw. And not only do you need therapy, but you need a swift kick in the nuts.
And none of it excuses where you and your husband are right now.
Yeah.
So tell me about the things he says. Because what I hear is, and listen, I could be super wrong what I'm hearing, so I want you to help correct me.
Okay.
What I'm hearing is, you just want this guy that you've built a life with, you want him to want you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He didn't then and he doesn't now. See, that's the thing about John. Someone will tell him exactly what's going on, and sometimes they leave out details. That is true. But in this case, I feel like this woman, and you will go on to hear exactly what she's talking about. I feel like this woman is she's being honest, and John doesn't hone in on that. He's not hearing her. And you'll see why.
This is an ad for BetterHelp. I talk to hurting people for a living, and yes, I can help out folks in tiny chunks of time here on the internets, but often more help is needed.
Why are all these influencers and content creators still using this trash company that was exposed years ago? They don't care. He's still using BetterHelp as a sponsor. All of these other big YouTubers are too. Joe Rogan is, Annie Elise is. All these other people are still using a company that was exposed for not having real therapists and for actually overcharging you and for putting people on the line that really didn't give a crap about what you were talking about during your therapy session. So if you have time later, go look into that.
Tell me about that.
No, that's absolutely it. That's absolutely it. I mean, about 4 years ago, I found out I had breast cancer, and he was so hands off with me. It was almost surprising to me how hands off. I mean, there would be nights I would cry myself to sleep in my closet because he would be so frustrated with me by how I was handling it. And
tell me about
that. Has made me feel. He would tell me that I was being too negative.
Wow, this guy sounds like a real winner, doesn't he? Holy crap. No, you ain't just a prick, you're a dick. I mean, that's a really terrible thing to do to your wife, to make her feel like she's the problem just because she has a disease. That's disgusting, and I really hope that she kicks this guy to the curb. I couldn't imagine having a husband that didn't give a crap about me at all. That is unthinkable to me.
Or it's not that big of a deal, or people have it worse, and so I would lay in bed and cry because I wasn't trying to be negative.
Yep. You can definitely tell by his expression on his face that he completely misread the situation. I had this pegged from the beginning, but sometimes, John, I feel like he gives people too much grace. And that's why I come out of the box already critical of what's going on. I'm not saying that everybody has to be that way. I'm saying that I am a critic by nature. And I'm not going to criticize. I am going to give grace where it's needed. But this guy doesn't deserve any.
And so I would lay in bed and cry at night because I felt like I always had to keep it together because unfortunately for me, I'm a people pleaser to the end. But so I would feel like I had to keep it together for everybody at work all day and my kids and yada, yada, yada. And then I would just want to be able to just cry in bed at night if I needed to. And he would tell me, you're going to die if you're this negative. You can't keep doing this. You're just being so negative. And
okay, let me tell you straight up. That's not supposed to happen like that.
Okay.
Like I'm doing my best to not get enraged inside my chest.
I am enraged. I feel like tossing my MacBook through my freaking wall right now. He's a terrible human being. You know, I have a lot of people that say, oh, well, people like that, you just got to pray for them. People like that, you just got to leave, give them grace. And, that you don't know what they're going through. Listen, sometimes we actually have to go, actually, Satan, you can take care of him for a while. And I want you to put him through some trials and tribulations because we can't do nothing with this fool. And you go ahead and put him through some stuff. That way, maybe he'll come back and he'll be asking and begging forgiveness. That does happen sometimes.
On your behalf. I just met you.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't be sorry. I'll just sit here with you for a sec. Because you've been lonely inside your house for a long, long time, haven't you?
27 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you got to experience, I think, one of the scariest things ever, which is when we squash part of ourselves to make ourselves, quote unquote, lovable.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a story we tell ourselves that when the chips are down, our spouse will stand beside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you squash part of yourself for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And he did too.
Yeah.
But then the chips fell and you found yourself all alone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that John should sit here and add insult to injury because this woman is hurting. She's hurting. But why won't he just say it? Just say it, John. He doesn't love you, honey. You deserve better than this. And I would file for the D word if I was you. But of course, before you do that, try therapy. Try going to your pastor if you have one, if you've got a church. Try to do all those things. Yeah. Try to talk to him. But if he's not going to hear you after all this time, after all these years, he doesn't love you. A man who loves a woman does not treat them that way. And if he cares anything about changing, the first signs of that will be shown during therapy during that probably the first week. But if he doesn't care anything about you and doesn't care anything about changing, you'll know whether or not you need to go file within the first week of therapy. I promise you. I'm torn. I'm torn between being angry at this guy and also trying to have compassion for her, right? Like, I want to have compassion for her, but at the same time, I'm brutally honest. I'm just one of those people that I will look somebody dead in the face and say, they don't love you. You need to move on. You need to hear this. You need to pack your bags or have him pack his bags. But like I said, therapy first, always, especially if you've been together for as many years as you have. But if he continues to do this, no matter what you do, no matter if you do go to therapy, and you go for the first couple of weeks and he doesn't really give a flip about you, well, then just go ahead and do it. I know what the Bible says about divorce. I have to stick to those strict biblical values. However, the question then remains, what does God expect us to do when we're in a situation like this? What do we do? And I feel like that's a question between her and God. That will be a decision that she will definitively have to make on her own.
That's the definition of trauma, is a disconnection from yourself and others. Now, here's my next statement. You can't control him. So my next question for you is, have you sat down across the table and chosen not to continue to hold this pain in this new era that you're in, this new season of empowerment and strength, and said, here is how you hurt me?
Do you really think he's going to care? Look, I've dealt with guys. I had 2 different ones in the past that I knew did not care about my feelings, did not care about me. Of course, obviously, those both ended. The first one, it ended pretty quick because I realized he didn't care anything about me. The second one, it lasted and went on for 9 years. I came to my senses. And my best friend, I have to give her credit for the fact that, you have to give her a little bit of credit for the person that I am today, because she shook me out of it. She helped to shake me out of it. She was blunt, and she told me right in my face, he doesn't love you. He does not love you. This is crazy. Why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you torturing yourself? Thank God we weren't married. You sit your husband down or your spouse down. You sit your spouse down or you sit your boyfriend down and you tell them to their face, you've hurt me. And they showed no emotion. They showed no remorse. They couldn't care less. I think it's time to cut the cord, because all they are is an anchor on your foot. They're a ball and chain at that point. And it makes me angry that John doesn't just tell her this to her face on the phone. Just tell her, no, you deserve better than this. This is crazy.
And chosen not to continue to hold this pain in this new era that you're in, this new season of empowerment and strength, and said, here is how you hurt me. Or a better way to say it is, I was so hurt.
I'm honestly afraid to say it.
Tell me what that feels.
I feel like anytime I've tried to be honest about my feelings, he can't hear me.
That's not true. He won't hear you.
He won't. Yeah, he won't hear me. He just gets mad about, and then he turns it into, I never do anything right, and I'm always a failure, and then I feel like I have to squash it again because I've made him feel some kind of way, and I need to fix it.
I'm going to stop John right there. This is not a trauma from your religion problem. This is your husband is emotionally bankrupt problem. This guy is a literal pig. No woman on this planet, no one, doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman, should ever feel like their grief is an inconvenience to someone. And that's not marriage. That's emotional eviction. He has completely checked out and has been checked out for a long time. A husband's job in that moment is not positivity policing. It's to shut up, sit down, and you hold the hand of the woman that you vowed to be with through sickness and in health. Do you not understand what your vows meant when you took them, bro? She's falling apart and he's worried about being positive. And she feels like that there's no escape. She has nobody to turn to. If I was John, I would have went for the jugular, verbally. Marriage isn't about tolerating emotional starvation for 3 decades and then you turn around and you call it commitment, bro. And if your wife has an illness and she feels safer crying alone in the closet than in your arms, and she doesn't want anything to do with you because of the fact that you make her feel so small and so insignificant and feel like she's a burden, you have lost in all of this. You're not the victim. You're the perpetrator in it. You know, John failed miserably here because I don't care what church you used to belong to, when your wife is fighting a terminal illness and crying in a closet, the problem isn't theology. It's you being morally bankrupt. At what point do we stop giving someone grace and actually start calling it what it is? It's neglect and not being in love with them anymore. Newsflash, just because you're not in love with someone anymore, that doesn't give you the right to treat them like trash. Or maybe the problem was in the fact that they actually got married. Maybe He's never loved her.
We all have that, like that woman in our family that's like, oh, I don't want to eat there. You know what? That's okay. I just won't eat. I'll just eat the napkins in the glove box. Y'all go ahead without me. And it's a way that the whole family stops and goes, okay, where do you want to go? Right? It's the same capture of power, just done in a different way. And I'm watching more and more men take this on as culture has said, hey, you can't beat your chest and yell anymore because masculinity, like it's a poisonous version of that. What they're doing now is, oh, I just can't do anything right, and you just hate me, and I'm such a failure. And then the whole house goes, you're not a failure, right?
No, that's not it. You're totally getting this wrong. And I understand that whenever people do that, they gaslight you or they guilt trip you, telling men that they can't beat their chest and yell anymore. What are you talking about? No, and I know that he might be being facetious, but around here, around the South, no, men have no problem with being men anymore. Like there's still men around here, okay? They still do whatever they want to do. It ain't just beat their chest and beat, like my husband's never done, he's never been like one of those dude bros, right? Like, he is stoic. You know what is truly masculine? Stoicism. A man who can take hit after hit after hit, still keep going, still leading his family, still being there for his family, still stepping up to the plate. Whenever he breaks, he falls in his wife's arms. And that's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. And it's almost like I can't point it out because what is it?
Here's what it is. My body was at war with me. And you blamed me for making you uncomfortable. Every time I have a feeling inside my own house, you tell me something is wrong with me. You are such a weak, childish coward that you can't hold your wife's feelings. And you can lift all the weights in the world and do all the MMA in the world and get all the tattoos in the world and have all the guns in the world and listen to all the Red Pill podcasts in the world. But if you can't hold your wife's pain, you're not a man. Period.
Boom, shakalaka. Now we're on the right track, John.
That's the job. And not only is that the job, that's the greatest gift on the planet.
Yeah.
And so hear me say, your pain is real.
Okay, I just started cheering for you, and now you just made me go, John, she knows it's real. She's aware because she's feeling it right now. That's not helping. You need to actually try to push her in the direction of guidance, which is you need to actually evaluate this and actually ask yourself, has your husband ever loved you? I'm so sick of people thinking that they can walk all over someone and treat them like garbage. Then they're the type that say, oh, well, she filed for the big D and I was blindsided. Oh, really? Like, it's definitely neglect. It sounds like he's bitter because he doesn't love you and he doesn't want to be with you, but he feels like he's stuck with you. And John should have figured this out during this call.
Now, I've seen some people be successful, both men and women, by sitting down and saying, we need to have a hard conversation, and I'm going to ask you to act like an adult here.
Okay.
What does that mean? What is it? I'm going to say some heavy things, and I'm going to ask you to not retreat. I'm going to ask you to stand firm, and I'm going to ask you to finally listen to me.
Good luck with that. That's what I'm talking about. This is terrible advice. Whenever someone hasn't listened to you for 30 years, what makes you think they're going to listen to you after you sit them down and say, okay, it's either this or I'm gone? Do you really think that they're going to care? They're not going to believe you. She'll have to put her words into action to make him believe, and then he'll understand.
And I'm going to challenge you as best as possible to use I statements instead of you statements.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely need to work on that. Okay.
And somebody who feels perpetually attacked in their home with you, perpetually feels like a victim.
Yeah.
Versus, I had breast cancer and you blamed me for crying too loud.
Yeah.
I went through this many years of being told that my voice didn't matter. And I just want you to look at me and say, I'm glad that you're my wife.
This is sad, man. I can't hardly sit here and listen to her cry. It's terrible. If that guy was right in front of me, I would get him right in his... I'm going to say whatever I think. I have no filter. But even as a Christian, yeah, we think those thoughts too. We think that some people they deserve a good right in the sack. And it's definitely just a sack because there's no balls there.
Crybaby.
No, you're not a crybaby. You're somebody who's got your emotions, rightfully so, because for a big chunk of your life, they told you God didn't like your emotions. And then the person that you were hitched to said, they make me uncomfortable, so keep them bottled up. They will bubble over. And here's tell me if I'm wrong. Are there seasons, are there times when you just explode and then you go, see?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's what happens. Yeah. That's what happens when these things get just shaken up like a 2-liter bottle with the lid on. Intimacy is you.
When I do that.
Well, I know, but it's a way that somebody will point at you and make it your fault. And so here's what has to happen. You have to have a safe place right now. And I don't say safe like in the kumbaya nonsense. I'm talking about a trusted person or group of people. Not that you can complain to and whine to, because that doesn't help. but a place where you can be heard and you can let your feelings out. Because feelings don't tell us the truth all the time, but they do have significant value. They are data.
Okay.
And so if that's not him right now, that is you once a week getting with a group of girlfriends. Not to say, my husband, it's to say, whew, I need to say in front of some people that I feel really lonely right now. I'm still scared to death that my body is going to kill me from the inside out.
Yeah.
John, I'm going to push back on you just a little bit there, because for some reason we've become a culture that is against venting. I don't have a PhD. I'm not a therapist. I have no medical knowledge or psychological knowledge whatsoever. Physiological, no, of course not. Just life experience. That's where I'm speaking from. Venting feels better. Whenever I have something on me, when I have a monkey on my back, whenever I feel like I'm carrying the world on my shoulders, venting does help. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to just unload in somebody's lap. Now, me and my husband talk all the time, of course. But sometimes he don't want to hear me vent. Instead of venting to him, I'll call it my best friend. And I'll be like, girl. But no, we don't say girl. We go, dude, you are not going to believe this. And she'll hear me out. And she does the same thing with me. There's nothing wrong with that. The people that think that you can only do that in a therapist office, I don't know why that's become a thing. But it's almost like a culture now. Even on TikTok, everybody's talking about how venting is bad for you. No, it's not. I feel like the world's been lifted off my shoulders once I'm able to do it. Once I get it out and I expel that energy, I'm good to go. And it's like, yeah, it still sucks. Yes, I've got to have to deal with it. But I feel better.
And my hope is that if you look at your husband and say, you've got one job and that's to keep me safe and love me, that he'll rise to that occasion. If it's said in that direct of a way. I feel like I say this every show, but you're not crazy and your pain is real and your feelings are righteous and good.
Okay.
All right, John, I've heard enough of the whole you're not crazy, your pain is real, because you say that to everybody. And here's the deal. Sometimes you take it overboard and that's all you focus on is the grace part. Oh, well, he's got trauma too. And it's like he got used to doing their way of things and that's how he's living his life. No, it sounds like that this dude never loved her. He never loved her. He didn't love her whenever he put a ring on her finger. He probably married her out of obligation. What he felt like was obligation and had children with her. And now he just wants to complain and he doesn't want to fulfill his vows. And that's what John should have focused on here. And of course, not having him on the phone, of course, that's going to present problems. It always does, because now she has to go and actually try to physically talk to him since John couldn't talk to him. But I would really hope that if he would have been on the phone, that John would have raked him over the coals, because I know I would have. And then everybody's like, oh, well, they went through so much in their life. I have too. But guess what? I don't take that out on other people. I don't take that out on my spouse. We all have trauma in this world. Now you've got to take responsibility. And John should have told her, it sounds like he doesn't love you. It sounds like he's never loved you. And I know that crushes you and I know that hurts you, but I really would be thinking about not only sitting down with him, but sitting down with a counselor and a marriage counselor and seeing where his feelings actually are. Because if he cannot admit that, because he's so much of a coward that he can't even hold you whenever you're hurting and in pain because you're battling a terminal illness, he can't even do that. My guess is that he doesn't even have the courage to look you dead in your face and tell you that he doesn't love you anymore. So you're going to have to be the bigger person in this. I have tons more base content incoming. In the next couple of weeks, it's going to be good. All right, subscribe to the channel. Like it if you liked it. Too bad if you didn't. I'll see you next time. Have a very Merry Christmas. I love you guys. Bye.